First, the user powers the appliance on at the plug socket. On startup, the appliance will check whether the motors are in the correct home positions. If not, they will move back automatically, ready for use. This is shown here with the motor carriage position returning to its required starting point. With motors in the correct position, the user then lifts the lid using the quick release latch handle. The user then retrieves the treat mix vessel and blending cap. The cap is then attached via a threaded system. With the cap attached, the vessel is then lowered into the slots within the arms of the appliance, ensuring the coupler lowering lever is facing towards them. The user then retrieves the ingredient funnel and places it into the top of the vessel. This allows users to more easily add to the vessel any ingredients and household food waste which is to be processed into treat mix. With ingredients loaded, the funnel is then removed. To blend ingredients into treat mix, the user first lowers the lid over the vessel. The lid is automatically locked in place with the latch mechanism. The user then holds and rotates the handle on the front of the blending cap to engage it with the motor coupler. The blade is then driven to process ingredients into treat mix by pressing and holding the blend button on the interface. When the mix is homogenized, the user then re-lifts the lid. Next, the user retrieves and attaches the extrusion cap to the vessel. The blending cap is then disengaged from the motor by reversing the movement of its front handle. With the couplers freed, the user can then invert the vessel by rotating its side handles. This transfers the treat mix down the vessel towards the extrusion cap under gravity. The blade cap can then be unthreaded. For demonstrative purposes, oatmeal is added to the vessel here. This represents the processed treat mix that would be in the container at this stage. To begin the treat extrusion process, the user again lowers the lid over the vessel. The central button of the interface is then pressed. This triggers the motor carriage to move forwards towards the user, making it easier to load the baking tray. To load the baking tray, the user simply places it onto the square base of the coupler. The central button is then pressed once again to return the baking tray under the nozzle ready for extrusion. For the prototype, a threaded sleeve was added to the lid to allow it to attach to the top of the vessel. This was because the 3D printed latch was not strong enough to hold the lid in position under the reactionary force of extrusion. The use of stronger metal latch components would negate the need for this in the final design. A metal rod was also placed through the hinge at this stage to provide additional strength to the prototype. The user then rotates the central dial of the interface to select the desired treat size, then presses the Make button to initiate pre-extrusion. During pre-extrusion, the plunger moves through the vessel until mix begins to exit the nozzle onto the baking tray. For the prototype, the pre-extrusion is ended by repressing the make button. This triggers the motor sequence which forms the selected treat size. The formed treats are then automatically dispensed onto the baking tray. As you can see, the small setting of the prototype produces concentrically arranged treats. With more programming development, the idea is that stopping and starting extrusion within the concentric paths would enable the appliance to create small, separate, individual treats. Here is another angle of the extrusion sped up. If any mix remains in the vessel at the end of the process, a second baking tray can then be loaded for forming treats to prevent waste. With the extrusion process complete, the tray of formed treats can then be lifted and removed from the coupler. Here is the final product of the small setting. The treats are then inserted into the oven for baking and solidification. With the treats formed and solidifying in the oven, the user then uses the interface button to return motors to their home positions. This applies to the plunging motor and motor carriage. The user then lifts the lid and cleans any mix off the plunger. Finally, the vessel is then removed from the arms of the appliance for cleaning. During testing, this was achieved with ease using water, soap and a dish rag. The final design is to also accommodate dishwashing. When the treats have been solidified in the oven, the user then takes the baking tray out. The treats can then be removed from the tray and are ready to be fed to the dogs once cooled down. Treats produced are suitable for storage and can also be easily frozen and thawed. This section of the video is to demonstrate the other treat sizing option of the prototype. As you can see, the user has moved the dial to the large setting and again presses make. As before, the process starts with the pre-extrusion. This setting is intended to produce long, larger treats of a similar stick form to dentist sticks. The different treat sizing options offered by the appliance ensures that the needs of different dog owners and breeds are met. As you can see, the system is very versatile with many opportunities for different treat sizes and shapes to be developed. Here is the second sped up angle of the large setting being extruded. As you can see, the solidified large setting provides a convenient quantity and size of treats. Thank you for watching my prototype demonstration.